Hello Scorpio, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is your weekly tarot forecast. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss any of the future readings that we do for you. Okay, and the best way to support this channel is to like, leave a comment, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and consider joining the channel, becoming a member, and getting access to all the extended readings. All right, so what does Scorpio need to know? What is the message coming through for Scorpio for this coming week? First card today, Princess of Discs. All right, I think it's going to be a week that is really focused on your abundance, on manifesting your own success, your own reality, that abundance, that health, the wealth, the success, the fulfillment, all of your health goals, your financial goals, right? I think all of those are coming into focus this week. But let's put that into some context with some more cards here. We're going to lay out our Dove and Serpent spread. And this is going to include a mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card, whatever you want to call it. We're going to leave that right here. We're not going to touch that. We're not going to reveal that until the very end. So stick around. And hopefully that will, tie the reading together or give us the confirmation that we're looking for at the end. All right. So what do we have here? We've got some major arcana. We've got a little bit of fire. Not a lot of water, I'm noticing. So I wonder if the part of the energy this week is this lack of emotional connection. Maybe this lack of joy, this lack of pleasure, this lack of that real emotional fulfillment, right? And so maybe that's something that we have to acknowledge, is that that piece of the puzzle is kind of missing this week. And it may be important for you as the week goes on to try to focus on areas of your life where you can bring in more emotional connection, more joy, more of like a personal touch with people, or just to allow yourself to experience that wonderful water love energy, right? That connection, that emotional fulfillment, and a little bit of joy in things. So I see that, again, the week is kind of all about this Princess of Discs, but we have this Four of Wands that's crossing its path this week. So I think you're really working to finish up some existing project, something that you've been working on manifesting, okay, in one way or another. If this is career, if this is something at home, if this is a personal project, some of your art, your creativity, something that you've been working on in the physical world is just about finished, right? And maybe it's something that you've been kind of stalled out on a little bit. Maybe it's something that you've been very near completion for a long time, but you haven't quite done those last few things. You haven't quite finished up what needs to be finished up to finally say, okay, I'm done. This project is completed. It could be anything. It could be anything at all. But it's something in the external world that you've been working on. Could be a relationship, could be a situation. There are some indications here that it might be a situation more than some sort of product or end result in a tangible form, like something that you create, something that you've sculpted or molded, right? So it could be literally or figuratively. But I feel like there are a few things left, especially with this Four of Wands. There are a few things that are as yet unfinished. The last couple of steps, the finishing touches, the couple of loose ends that you need to tie up before you can finally say, with this Princess of Discs, all right, things are done. I've finished this thing, okay? And I think this is something that, again, that's something that you've been working on for a while, but I'm getting this feeling like maybe you're under some sort of obligation to work on this, to do this project, because we see the Justice or Adjustment card at the very top of the path of the Dove. And this card in this position is representing the reading, the energy in a nutshell. It's the general energy of the whole reading. And it's about this obligation, this commitment, this almost like a contract or a legally binding thing that you have to do this work, right? To finish this this project, whatever is kind of represented here. Okay, and I think that this card is representing that finished product, that manifestation of something in the physical world, right? A tangible completion of some project. And it could be anything. It's not necessary that you have to be building something, like a structure. It could be that you're building a relationship, you're building a service, you're performing something, I think, under this obligation. It's a project that you've been working on that has been kind of stalled a little bit. I don't know that it's been really dragged on. We don't see, like the world or the universe card here to say that maybe it's been an eternity since this thing started, right? But I think it's been going on for a little while. And I think that you are under some obligation, some contract to do this work, to finish this thing. And now you're starting to wrap it up. At least this week, that needs to be the focus, I think, is getting those last finishing touches put on, getting the last loose ends completed, finishing up the last few items on your checklist so that you can finally say, okay, I'm done. And then you can move on to the next project, the next contract, the next focus for your life. Okay? But again, I think that there is some kind of legally binding contract or agreement, some commitment that you've made to this project. And this could be why we're experiencing a little bit of what we're experiencing. Like I said, there was that lack of the water element, right? There's no real cups here. There's some water, but it's a different kind of water. We'll get to that. But there are no cup cards. So it could be that you're not really feeling connected to this project or to this work or to this situation, this service that you're kind of under this obligation to provide or whatever this is. You're not really feeling it. You're not really feeling connected. A little bit disinterested. You're just not vibing with it, right? And so that could be why it's been delayed. That could be why you haven't really put those finishing touches on there for some time now. You've done most of the work and then you just kind of went on to something else, right? I don't think you were really feeling the connection to this. I feel like there is a larger group of people involved that has maybe hired you to do this work, or that in some way has asked you to do this, or in some way they've provided this opportunity for you. It's this larger group of people. This could be, it could be your employer. It could be, your friends or family. It could be a community organization, a church, a temple, a lodge, an order, whatever it may be. Some larger group of people, I think, have kind of solicited your services, and now you're under this obligation to finish this work, this project, whatever it is that you're doing for these folks. Okay? And I think it may be like something rather basic, something rather traditional, and that could be why you're not really feeling a lot of connection with it. It's kind of just something that's just kind of a cookie cutter thing, and it's not really what you want to be doing. It's not what you feel passionately about, but maybe it pays the bills, right? And so there's this lack of real connection to it, but you have to finish it because it's just kind of the standard work. It's the way things go, right? It's kind of a painter just producing like hotel art, just for mass market, just to sell, just to kind of support themselves while they work on what they really care about. Does that resonate with you a little bit? Leave me some comments. Let me know how this is going for you, if you think this is your reading, if this is resonating with you. So, in the immediate future, we see the Hanged Man. Okay, now this is that little bit of water that we were talking about. I said there was no real connection to this work. You're not really vibing with it. You're not really in sync or in harmony with it. You don't really care much about it, right? But I think in some ways this is revealing that you are a little bit too attached to your own ideal of what is meaningful work, or you're so set in your ways of what a meaningful project should be, of what real art or real work looks like. You know what I mean? Like because this is kind of a vanilla, it's kind of bland, this is kind of just a cookie cutter thing that you're working on, you don't feel that connection. I think you have a little bit of a snobby kind of attitude about it. Now don't take offense, right? But I think that you're rather unwilling to see that there is meaning in this project that you're doing, that there is a way for you to connect emotionally with it, even if superficially you feel like this is just a standard, it's just a run-of-the-mill cookie cutter kind of thing. And there's no deeper meaning in there. But I think if you looked, you could find the deeper meaning. Now, the Hanged Man is telling me that in one way, you are kind of stuck in your ways. You're stuck in your own beliefs. You're not willing to see the deeper meaning in this work. You're not willing to try to connect with it, right? You just kind of, it's like you've already dismissed it. You've already just kind of rejected it as being something meaningful, and it's just something, well, I have to do because I've been hired to do it, or I'm under whatever that obligation is. I'm under this obligation to do it, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. It doesn't mean I have to connect with it. I don't find any joy or value in it, but I'm just going to get it done. But you're not really putting your heart into it. And I think you decided that before it even began, right? Because I see with the Hanged Man, you're kind of stuck in your ways a little bit. You're stuck with these idealisms, these beliefs that you have. You're really holding on to those, I think. And then also what this card means in the future position, because it's in the immediate future on the path of the dove here. This is saying that you might have to surrender. You might have to let go. You might have to just accept the position that you're in and try to find that water, try to find that joy, that connection, that emotional vibing, right? Because you're in this situation. You're in this Hanged Man position. You might as well try to find something to enjoy about it. I think that's what it comes down to. And I think that your lack of joy or your stubbornness, perhaps, is what has kind of contributed to the delay here. I feel like you could have wrapped this thing up a long time ago, but you just don't have the interest in it. You're a little bit stubborn. You don't really connect with it, and so it wasn't a priority for you. Okay? So I think that in the immediate future, it has to be just kind of surrendering to it, biting the bullet, so to speak, accepting your position, and getting this thing wrapped up. Okay? Because the real theme, the real action required, the action card of the week is wrapping things up. Come on, let's just finish it. Let's get it completed. Let's get it done. Put the finishing touches on there. Check off the last couple of things on your checklist and be done. And so you can move on, because with this Four of Wands, the closing out of this cycle opens up a new cycle. Finished with this project, you could get on with something else, something that you do connect with easier. But in the meantime, use this Hanged Man as this learning experience. Learn how to find the silver lining in things. Learn how to kind of accept your situation and try to find something redeeming about it. Right? The Hanged Man in a lot of books, a lot of lore is all about redemption. Right? This figure is hanging themselves, is suspending themselves, is willingly putting themselves into this position in order to redeem something, redeem that energy. Right? Through this position, through this suffering, kind of. Now, we don't have to go to that extreme, but at times it may feel like you're really being punished or you're really suffering to get this thing done. You know, whenever we're doing some kind of work that we don't enjoy, it feels like torture, right? I mean, in a metaphorical sense, of course. But it feels that way, and it makes the work so much more difficult. But I feel like this is a good experience for you. I feel like this Hanged Man is a really important card right now, saying that this is a necessary experience. But by all means, utilize this action card here and get this thing wrapped up. Get it done with so you can move on to your next project, right? And leave me some comments. Let me know what this might be or what your passions are, what kind of work that you do enjoy doing versus, what this kind of, this obligation work is that I think you're doing this week. Now, there's one more card here at the bottom of the path of the dove. We didn't get to it yet. This is underneath the surface. This is some kind of bad energy, right? This is some unconscious energy that maybe you're not aware of. And this is a card, if you're a follower of the channel, you know I don't like this card. And I really loathe when it comes up in a spread, in a reading. The Nine of Swords. Now, maybe the Nine of Swords isn't as bad as I make it out to be. Maybe I'm not giving the Nine of Swords enough credit. In this position, though, I think that, you know, what we just said with the Hanged Man about how when we're doing work that we don't necessarily connect with, it kind of feels like torture. It's kind of grueling to have to do it. I think a lot of that comes from our own mind. I think we're doing that to ourselves. I think while we're doing this grueling work, we're sitting there doing it, dwelling on it, thinking this is terrible, it's painful, I hate it, I wish I was doing a million different things. We're railing against what we're doing in that present moment, and it makes that present moment miserable, makes it feel like torture. But in essence, we're torturing ourselves, right? Rather than trying to focus on what we do enjoy, or just accepting, okay, look, I don't like this. It's painful to endure this monotonous work or whatever the routine, whatever it is. I don't like it. It's painful. I'm miserable, but this is what I'm doing now. And I'm going to get through it the best I can. It's kind of an attitude adjustment, honestly, right? And the Nine of Swords sometimes gives us that attitude adjustment. It's trying to point out this tendency that I think most of us have, I have it, this tendency to dwell on the negative of an experience because we could think of a million other things that would be bringing us so much more joy, so much more pleasure, so much more happiness right now other than what we're doing. So it makes what we're doing right now feel so much worse. But this habit, this tendency that we have is like these 9 swords that we are just piercing ourselves with these poisoned thoughts, right? Every time we think one of these things, it poisons us, right? I don't know how else to explain that. I don't know what other words to use to get that message across, but I think you understand what I mean. So this is just something to be aware of, right? This is something that I think is going on beneath the surface. You may not realize that you do it. I think I do it a lot of the time, and I don't realize that I'm doing it. But it's something to try to be aware of, try to understand that about ourselves, and maybe we can get through this a little bit easier. Okay. But with that, let's move over to the path of the Serpent, because we see some pretty good energy over here. We see the contrast between the fire, the active, the action cards, and then we see some earth cards, which is the receiving, the reception, the magnetism, the drawing to us of what we want, and the manifestation right in front of us of the reality that we're creating through our actions, through that fire, right? So the fire-earth kind of interaction, the dynamic there. Now the first card, this represents you, your overall energy. This is the 6 of discs. This is about the manifestation of a balanced, wholesome life, right? This is something where you intentionally, consciously, the energy that you're putting forth is a desire to be in harmony with things. You want to go with the world. You want to be going with the grain. You want to be going with the flow of the river, right? You want to be in harmony with things. You want everything to be in alignment and balanced and beautiful and joyous and harmonious, right? But this is kind of at odds with what we were seeing with the path of the dove, where it seems like you were fighting against the flow, fighting against kind of your obligation to do whatever work that you are doing now, right? Fighting against this, but at the same time, expressing outwardly, or at least in your thoughts, that you want to be in harmony, that you want to be in a balance with the world and with nature and with the events and with the external world. You want everything to be kind of Zen-like and harmonious, right? You want all the planets to be in alignment. But this isn't really the reality of what's going on within you. So there's a little bit of a split between kind of what your unconscious is doing, or what your inner voice, right? The internal part of you is doing, and kind of what you're expressing outwardly. So the idea really is to manifest this harmony, this acceptance of the situation that you're in, right? Allowing all of the energies that you've earned, all of your karma, essentially, allowing all of the results of your actions into your life, accepting the fact that you've created this reality and now you're going to be reaping the benefits of that, right? Reaping what you sow, kind of thing. And if that means that you're in this obligation, this commitment to do whatever this project is, to do whatever this work is, even though it's not what you ideally would want yourself to be doing all day, but you've made this commitment. You've agreed to do this, because we see with this Justice card, it's not something that's being forced on you. It's something that you've willingly entered into this agreement, right? And so it's a matter of just accepting that, accepting the rewards, accepting the results of that work, to try to live in more harmony between your inner world and your outer world. If you really want all of your planets to align, you have to kind of go with what this Hanged Man is talking about. Accept the position that you're in. Because one, you put yourself there, maybe in an unconscious way, but you put yourself in that position, maybe to redeem things, maybe to learn, maybe to have this experience. Maybe you have to go through this, if it's dull, routine work, in order to really appreciate the more passionate, the more connected, the more like glorious work that you do, right? Maybe it's necessary in some way. But that is part of living in harmony, living in balance, right? Which I think is what you intentionally put forward that you want to do. So the first step in doing that, I think, is to recognize that there is some imbalance between how we really feel about things and what we're expressing outwardly that we want. How we want to live and how we actually live, right? The ideal and the actual. Now, the next card that we see is representing the nature of your relationships. So this could be in particular this relationship with whoever this organization or this group of people is that have hired you or contracted you to do this work, or have entered into this agreement, this obligation with you, right? Could be that group. But this card could be indicating kind of the general energy of your relationships altogether, right? And this is the Two of Wands. This is kind of that, it's a dominating energy. It's an energy that kind of borders on aggression, or like domination, really demanding, a lot of those kind of words, right? And I think this is the control that you're trying to assert over everyone around you, in life in general, in particular your relationships with the people that are closest to you, and maybe with this group of people over here that's involved with this work situation. It could be that a lot of your relationships now are colored by this Two of Wands energy, this really bright, fiery, dominating energy. And it could be that you are trying to exert more and more control over your relationships with other people, maybe because there's a lack of control in your own life. Maybe there is a lack of control to do with this path of the dove, right? This work situation that you're in. Maybe you don't feel like you have much control over your own life. So there's a lot of this Two of Wands energy being expressed in your other relationships. Okay, is that resonating with you? And I mean no offense, right? I'm just receiving the message from these cards today, and I'm conveying that message to you. And so I see that the Two of Wands is pretty important. It's a strong factor with your relationships with other people. It could be that you're You're trying to exert more control over your other relationships because there is a lack of control somewhere in your own life, somewhere in your own being, your own soul, your own situation, maybe with this work situation, this path of the dove. All right. So again, that's something to be aware of. That's something to keep in mind and recognize when this starts to happen in your other relationships, and maybe see if you can get to the bottom of why that is. Right? Why this Two of Wands is coloring the rest of your interactions, the rest of your close relationships. Right? And now the next card is kind of right along with that. It's just all about your actions. It's all about control. And this is the Emperor. This is in the position of your fears, worries, concerns. What is going to be causing you anxiety? What is it that you have to overcome? And this, I think, is that need for control. Right? We said that the fire cards over here were all about action, right? And this is that action. This is you acting in that dominant, controlling way in your other relationships. Okay, so this is an action card. Now the Emperor, this is also an action card, but this is kind of where this Two of Wands is coming from. And this obviously is that need for control. You have this need to control everything, and it's manifesting as you being a little bit aggressive or a little bit dominant in your relationships. Okay? So this is the source, and this is the effect of that. The expression of that. And this, like I said, is your need for control. You're kind of, for some reason, there is like this feeling of a loss of control or a fear of losing control, of not having the authority, not having the strength or the will or the opportunity or the confidence or something to make the important decisions and to be in control of your life. So this is also something that we need to get to the bottom of. And I don't think there are enough cards here right now to really address this. Maybe in the extended we can look at this a little bit more and find out why there is this need for control. I think that's what we'll do. I think we'll take this as our focus card for the extended and see if we can get to the bottom of why there might be this need for control with you. But it's manifesting as this kind of dominance or aggression in your other relationships. Okay? And this is something to overcome it. Now, if we do overcome that, then we have this Earth card, Three of Discs. Again, the Earth card, something that you receive, something that you accept, right? Something that's manifesting right before you. And I think this is a lot of progress, right? I think this card is saying that you're going to be making progress. You're going to be receiving the fruits of your labors in the physical plane through this project, through your future, the next project that's coming, right? The Four of Wands. It's all about kind of what's coming next. And then in your emotional life as well, I think you're going to start making progress. You're going to start connecting. You're going to start using this Hanged Man energy, recognizing this Hanged Man energy, because that card is all about water. But it's about you maybe, dipping your toes in, or in this case, dipping your fingertips into that water, right? But you're going to be making progress. You're going to start connecting with things. You're going to start finding the little joys even in this grueling work that you may be doing. You're going to try to find that silver lining. Try to make that emotional connection with things. And then in your mental life too, there's going to be a lot less of this kind of lamenting, this Nine of Swords energy. You're going to make progress in the mental sphere as well. So this Three of Discs, all about progress. But this, you have to still do the work to achieve this progress. Okay. And this is at the end of the path of the Serpent. So I feel like a lot of this energy, a lot of these things that are going on really is going to be something that you're going to be working on over time, right? It's not something that's just you find the solution immediately and you're done and you can just say, yep, check that off my list too. This has to be an ongoing process. Progress is slow. If it's going to be lasting and meaningful, it's going to be a little bit slow. So I hope this resonates with you. I hope you'll stick around for the extended, but let's first Look at this confirmation card. I almost forgot about it. Well, let's see what this could be. I don't really have much of a speculation. Maybe a Nine of Cups. Maybe it's that emotional connection, that happiness, that joy, right? Because like I said, there's no other cups here. So odds are this might be a cup card. Well, this is an ace. This is an ace of discs. This is just as good, I think, as a cups card. This is more all-encompassing than just that cup would be, okay? If we said that the Three of Discs was progress, slow and steady progress on the physical, emotional, mental planes, this is progress, right? You're doing the work, you're seeing the benefits, you're going slow, progress. The Ace of Discs is kind of planting the seeds of that progress, right? You're planting the initial seed of the physical benefits, fulfillment, satisfaction. Physical, mental, and emotional, all three planes are contained within the earth plane. You're planting the seed of that. And then through this work, through the Three of Discs, through this slow progress, you're going to achieve and reap all of the rewards, all of the benefits from this energy, right? So this Ace of Discs is really confirming, I think, that the first step, and maybe this reading can be that first step for you, planting the seeds, right? Planting the seed of this kind of connection, this abundance. And we started with this Princess of Discs, right? The princesses are considered the thrones of the spirit, right? And the ace is the spirit. It's the unity. It's the number one, right? It's the Godhead. It's the unity. So we kind of have come full circle, and this is kind of telling me that this experience, this project, completing this project, is more meaningful to you because it is that act of completing this project with all the energy that we were talking about, the trying to find the connection with it, trying to appreciate it, etc., etc. That effort is symbolized by the completion of this project is going to be planting the seed for all of this progress on the physical, mental, and emotional planes for you. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining this. This is very meaningful. This is a very significant couple of cards here, and I love that we started with the Princess of Discs. We're ending with the Ace of Discs. So it really is telling me that this experience is a lot more meaningful. That it has a lot of a deeper implication than just completing this project so you can get on with your next project. No, completing this project is a symbol. It's an outward display, a ritual act of your planting the seeds for your future progress on the mental and emotional and the physical planes. So it really is a crucial step for you. It may seem like it's just got to get this thing done, get this project completed, whatever, but it has a much deeper implication for you. All right. Now, like I said, in the extended, we're going to take a look at this Emperor energy, see if we can get to the bottom of that. I encourage you to become a member of this channel. The information is down in the description box. Again, the best way to support this channel is to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video with your friends, and consider becoming a member. This was your weekly tarot forecast on Dove and Serpent Tarot.